Alright, so I'm making this video as I'm reorganizing my go-to tool bag, and figured I'd just show everybody what I have in my tool bag just on any given day as I'm going out sailing. This is sort of the core essentials I feel like you need to have on board, sort of no matter what, whether you're staying inside of a bay or just coastal cruising, and you'd want at least this much if you're going offshore cruising or ocean crossing. You would definitely want at least these things, maybe some additional things as well in terms of tools for mechanical work. I'll do another video separate from this one on my electrical bag. I have two separate bags, one for mechanical tools, other for electrical tools. And then I actually even have a third bag that is just rigging and rigging tools. So whatever the given problem is, I break it down into those three categories. So to start off with here, go over to our screwdrivers. I have a ratcheting screwdriver with a bunch of different bits in it. This can be extremely helpful because it's a bunch of bits all held in one place. So I haven't really run into a screw that hasn't had a bit in this that fits it. And then the helpful thing is that it ratchets. So once you do get the head in the screwdriver head into the screw, you don't need to take it out, or you don't risk losing the head of the screw as much if you just use a ratchet. And the reason that's important is because you may be using this in a really tight spot and you were lucky enough to get the head of the screwdriver into the head of the screw one time, and you may do a whole new round of cussing if you have to get it in there a second time. The next set are these nice large screwdrivers. Notice that they're shaped in such a way that you can get a wrench around the shank of the screwdriver. This can help you twist at things that are corroded in place. Much of what I'm going to talk about here has to do with addressing things that are corroded in place. It's just something that happens on all boats, whether it's a brand new boat or a used boat. Most of the stuff that you interact with is going to be corroded to some degree, sometimes to a large degree. So having tools that you can fit into small spaces but also use a lot of torque on can be really valuable. So I also have a Phillips head of the same type. For both of these, they have the handles are metal and go, I think, all the way through to the actual shank of the screwdriver, and that's so you can put this in place, and if you need to, you can actually hammer on it. This flathead is one of the most useful tools to have on the boat, whether that's removing old pipes or just trying to hammer away at something that is corroded in place and you need to try to loosen up. This can be a giant chisel that's extraordinarily helpful. On the other end of that spectrum, some really tiny screwdrivers, because you're going to be working in tight spots. Sometimes this one won't fit into a spot that you need it to, and then these are going to be your savior. Once you do get things apart, Tef gel is going to be the next thing that you want to go to as you put things back together. If it's an engine part, you should consider using high temperature anti-seize, but for any other nut and bolt or screw, I guess, going from one metal into another, Tef gel is really, really useful, and you should put it onto all the stuff as you put it back together. It'll keep next time's project working on the same thing a lot easier. A bunch of Allen keys, a nice range of sizes. These are metric on a J boat at least, and probably some other similar boats. Most of the things on our rigging and in the boat itself are metric. So I have a metric set. If you have a boat that's built in the US or is kind of predominantly delivered to US markets, you might want to get a set of imperial sizes as well. This is one of the most important things to have on the boat, WD-40. This is the go-to for everything as a penetrating oil to loosen up corrosion. or just like short-term lubricant. You can also put it on a rag and wipe down something that's rusty, and it'll take off surface rust. So WD-40 is one of the most useful things to have around on the boat. These are a set of shorty wrenches. They've got one end, the closed end ratchets. This can be extraordinarily helpful if it's a nut or a bolt that's really hard to get a wrench onto for just one time, and you've got a little bit of throw that you can use to ratchet something that's a shorty like this. It's extremely helpful, in particular tight engine spaces or around bulkheads, things like that. It can be just really useful. A couple different sizes of crescent wrench. So small one and a large one. Small one to work in tight spaces, a large one so that you can put a lot of torque onto a nut or a bolt that's just seized into place. Again, going back to the fact that a lot of what you're going to interact with is going to be corroded in one way or another and need some persuading. So this long-handled crescent wrench allows you to get a lot of torque on things. This has been an extremely useful purchase. A set of pliers that are engineered in such a way that you can apply a really heavy amount of force. And in the head here, there's some cutting jaws and then some flat gripping jaws. And there's also some flat gripping jaws sort of just inside the handles here. I've used this to make battery cables in terms of like cutting the wire. It's something that I use quite frequently to crimp electrical connections, butt connectors. This is an extremely useful purchase. A pair of channel locks. This is going to be something that you see on every single boat. This is one of the biggest go-to tools that you'll ever see on a boat. This could help you undo various sizes of pipe fittings. It can help you tune your rig in terms of turning turnbuckles. Maybe put a towel around it when you do that, but just the variability of how many sizes that you can fit into this one set of channel locks is extraordinarily useful. It means you don't have to have a different size set of wrenches for basically any given job. You can usually get away with using this and these together and perform most jobs. Then just a set of normal pliers, just for small jobs that are kind of annoying and just need a small set of pliers. This can be really useful. A couple sizes of vice grip. This is really awesome if you especially are short-handed and you need something to hold on to a nut or a bolt while you tighten or loosen it. This can be really useful. The other thing that this is really useful for is gripping a hose if you want to clamp a hose and stop the flow, or just adjust the flow to be less than it usually would be. And then next, going to the hammer. So going back to the trend of everything that you're going to interact with is going to be corroded to some level. If it's a heavy level of corrosion, you're going to apply WD-40. You're going to use the screwdriver, human power on it. You're going to maybe even use some leverage on it. And then if it really doesn't work, along with all that stuff, you're going to start hammering on it to try to shock it loose. And then jumping ahead a little bit past that, if it still doesn't come loose, you're going to blowtorch it, assuming that it's a metal to metal connection. You know, don't blowtorch things that are right up against a wooden bulkhead or right up against fiberglass, but especially if it's like an engine part that's just seized in place, the blowtorch can be an extraordinarily helpful method of getting something loose. And then things you're trying to be a little bit kinder to, but just still you need a little bit of a bumping motion to try to get something loose. The mallet, the rubber-headed mallet, is really, really useful. And then jumping ahead here to cutting tools, I like to have a hacksaw on board, just the old school normal hacksaw that takes forever to cut anything, but but it's you know, tried and true, it'll work. And then the oscillating tool, just, you know, one of your choice. We have DeWalt, and I try to get everything that we can DeWalt because all the batteries work together, and then I only have to have one battery charger on board. But an oscillating tool is extraordinarily helpful. It's got a bunch of different heads on it. The other reason this is useful is, let's say you lose your mast over the side. You don't want to be cutting rigging with this necessarily. It's going to take you forever. This can usually make pretty quick work of it. I've got a bunch of bits on board that cut stainless steel, and so this is sort of both just a useful thing to have around, but it's also a bit of a safety feature that I keep on the boat just in case. The ideal way of cutting rigging off is nice big wire snips, or like cable snips, but this is a bit of a race boat right now, so we don't have those on board, and we're only racing for the most part inshore or close to shore. If I were going across an ocean, I would absolutely have big cable snips on board to be able to cut the rigging away if I needed to in a hurry. But that's the big picture of what we have on board as tools that we carry with us no matter where we're sailing. And this will get you through most of the projects on a boat. Think about it as like your basic IKEA toolbox. This is sort of everything you need. There'll be some specialty items from time to time that come up, but not very many. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to list the equivalent of all of these in the description with Amazon links. We're part of the affiliate program now. If you click on one of our links and go buy it there, they'll send us a little bit of a kickback. But either way, this is what we use on board as our go-to set of tools that we carry with us all the time. Hopefully this is helpful if you're putting together your first toolkit for a boat, or just looking at your toolkit and wondering what other people have on board for their toolkit as well. So hopefully this helps. All right.